We start on that, I would like to give a safety brief. Please take note of the information displayed on your screen. Mute your mic when you're not speaking. Raise up your hand whenever you have something to say. You can use the comment section, the chat button for your comments, your questions. Be alert and aware of your environment and always ensure to stay safe. Who we are about Cable. Cable is an organization that is dedicated to helping young Africans access opportunities for their academic and career growth. We focus on mentorship, guidance, and programs like this. Our goal is to empower the next generation to not only succeed, but also create meaningful. We were founded in 2018 and we are registered. Our mission is to equip African youth with tools, mentorship, like I said earlier, and opportunities needed to achieve academic excellence. Our vision is to ensure that we have a generation of empowered African youth leading innovation, driving sustainable development, and shaping the future of the continent. Adana, please, are you admitting the people that are joining in? Sharing?
Yes. Don't worry. Promise and I. We're taking, just proceed.
So our core values are people-driven service, excellence and professionalism, equity and inclusion, growth and lifelong learning, leadership with integrity, and communication collaboration. Adana, please, can you take the opening remark?
Yeah, good evening once again to everyone on this call. My name is Adana Doris Margot. I'd like to welcome everyone, especially on the 3 Cable Graduate School Conference 2026. It's exciting. It's been exciting for the past 2 days. The one and day 2 last weekend. There was a lot of speakers, a lot of knowledge shared. I'm glad to have you guys today join us to continue with day 3 and subsequently tomorrow, day 4. So welcome everyone, and I hope you take most knowledge out of these sessions.
Thank you very much, Adana. Before we start fully, I would just like us to do something very light and fun. Please use the chat box and just type any country. Like if you could study in any country right now, like where would it be? Just drop your dream country in the chat. I want to see where everybody is aiming for. So let's just do that. Okay, UK, USA. I'm seeing a lot of USA, US or Canada. A lot of us are not dropping our dream countries to study in.
I can see Canada, Sweden. That is interesting. Doesn't mean that a lot of us don't like Europe. I only see US mostly and Canada.
Or Asia. I'm not seeing Asia too.
It's only US. There is America.
Moving on, I'm going to be introducing our first speaker for today. So our first speaker for today is Ernest Ekereke, and he's currently in his 2nd year of Master's Studies in Financial Mathematics at the University of Silesia in Katowice, Poland. Following his first-year graduate studies in mathematical engineering at the University of L'Aquila, his academic training is in mathematics, statistics, and it has naturally evolved into a passion for data science, building systems that learn from data and uncovering deeper patterns. Ernest designs data pipelines that improve data reliability by 15%, and he has developed route optimization models that cut average delivery times by 10%. His data science works the full machine learning lifecycle from feature engineering, model selection, hyperparameter tuning, and deployment-ready solutions. Beyond industry application, Ernest has published computational research in peer-reviewed journals, and he has tackled complex projects like human activity recognition from wearable sensor data, fraud detection in Polish banks using random forest and time delay estimations using STM networks. Whether building classification systems or regression models, he approaches each problem with scientific curiosity and practical focus, translating technical complexity into actionable insights for stakeholders. Please, can we use our reaction to give a round of applause for Mr. Ernest Ekereke or a fire emoji? Thank you very much. I see the reactions. Mr. Ernest.
Good evening, everyone. Can you all hear me?
Good evening. Yes, we can.
So I'm really glad for the opportunity.
Mr. Ernest, please, I think your audio is echoing. I don't know if you're using a headset or something so that you can readjust. Okay.
Is it okay now?
So why you not really? Can you speak again?
Is it okay now?
Please go ahead. Thank you.
I'll share my screen.
I think you have the permission to share your screen. And your audio is still not clear.
Can you see my screen?
No, we can't see your screen. We can see your screen now.
Can you see my screen now?
Yes, we can.
I would like to take us through this program. It's not really easy, it's timing and all that. So I will just try my best to see how I can give all the information that surrounds this topic. So, yeah, my name is Ernest, and I'm really happy to be here. So I'm glad to meet all of you. I am an Erasmus Plus student at the University of Silence here in Poland, and I study mathematics. So I will try to give share my idea on driving mobility and how you can go about assessing these opportunities the EU within Europe, and how you can try and prepare your application strategically so that you don't just do applications in a generic way like we see. So I noticed the second speaker will, so I will use the strategy to make this live presentation, and then I will talk about the Italian regional scholarship. Also, while I'm doing that, I'll do both simultaneously, and if time permits me, I will talk a bit on that scholarship as well, because these are scholarships I know I have some friends around that are beneficiaries of those scholarships. So I will start with Erasmus Plus, and then share how to go about it, and then I will share take you on the practical process of how you can first of all prepare your documents, and then know the type of program that suits your undergraduate, and then how you can. So my program as an Erasmus student is Intermat. Now it's a really big scholarship. Yes, can you hear me?
So your screen is on duplicates. Your screen is on duplicates. I can see multiple of this on your screen. That's number one. Number two, your audio is still not clear. I don't know if there is something we can do about that, or we can assist you with in displaying your screen. No. Anywhere we can assist you.
I will let me join this. I have no idea why the presentation.
Your voice is breaking, and your voice is breaking, so I don't really know. Are you joining with another device and is not muted or something?
Okay. Can you hear me now?
So just try to stop sharing and reshare. Please, I want to encourage everyone to kindly wait as we fix this. I think it's much better now, Ernest. But the voice.
Yes, we can, but it's still a bit unclear.
So so I just noticed that you are joining with two accounts. Maybe that's why the echoing is happening.
But I need to share my screen from my laptop since the audio is bad.
I don't mind you like restarting again, so that maybe try leaving and joining it back. Let's see if it should be better. Let's try that.
While we are waiting for that issue to be sorted out, can we also drop in the chat box what you hope to gain from today's event? Let's just do something very interactive while we wait for our speaker. Nobody is writing anything on the chat box. Please write what you hope to gain from today's session. Anything. Don't we want to have an interactive session? Can anybody hear me?
Yes, Favor, I can hear you. So for me, I don't know about, I personally is looking forward to Erasmus, more about the Erasmus, because a lot of people know about US, and right now we are having a speaker that can tell us more about the European scholarship. So I'm super excited and I look forward to it.
Thank you very much, Adana. Okay, somebody said, Mr. Wisdom said, strategic blueprint to study abroad and be positioned and equipped for effective leadership. Someone says he didn't know much about Poland and he's interested to learn more. Me too. I'm very interested to learn what our speakers have packed for us today. And it's going to be a very insightful session. Please, I want to encourage us to just hold on while we attend to the technical issues that we're experiencing. Thank you very much. But then again, I hope this is not the energy we're going to be using for today's session, because it seems like we don't really want to be here. Only less than 10 people replied to my message, to my question. I hope this is not what we'll do today. I hope that we are ready and eager to learn from today's session, and that we'll be very interactive. I can see the chat box. Thank you very much. David says he would love to learn more about our speaker and how he went about securing the opportunity, because he has the same background our speaker does, mathematics. Thank you, Wisdom. Thank you, Gideon. How many of us were available for 1 and day 2 sessions? Please, if you were available, just raise your hand. Thank you, Chikuka. Can you unmute and tell us something that you learned from either day 1 or day 2? Something that struck you, something that you decided to do differently after the session. And please, I'd like more people to raise up their hands if you were available for day 1 or day 2 session. Well, Chukwuka, you can go ahead.
Okay, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
So the first day I joined, I think the speaker that was taking us that day took us through application for Chinese. I think the speaker too said he studied in China and then was able to take us through the process. And I learned that from that experience, I got to know that it's not as difficult as I thought before now, because I didn't really know the category. Most times I've tried to apply to that Chinese government scholarship, but sometimes I may not know, I wouldn't know that there's a different category, that there was the one for that I have to be from the university, the one that will have to be from the embassy. So it was the way the guy really explained everything that they had to go back to the drawing board, and I found out that of a truth I can actually put up the application myself, because I was a guy that was even trying to charge me to do the application on my behalf. So, but the way he explained everything, I believe that in next cycle, that is from this year, I can be able to put up the application myself, everything on by myself.
Thank you very much, Chukwuka. Thank you. Thank you for attending day 1 and day 2. Since nobody wants to raise up their hand, I'm going to call names. Okay, Ismaili, please, can you tell us if you attended day 1 or day 2, something you learned, something you decided to do differently? Just why people don't want to answer my questions. You don't even know if I'm going to give out gifts or anything. Ismaili, no, sorry, Ernest. Wisdom, please, can you share with us something you learned from the previous sessions?
Thank you. Honestly, I would have loved to share, but unfortunately, I was not in the previous meetings. Oh, I wish I was. Thank you.
That's all right. It's not too late to learn. We're still on today and tomorrow, so you can still learn a lot. Today we'll be having 2 speakers, and tomorrow we also have speakers that will speak to us. So not to worry if you missed last week's sessions. There are still more things to learn. Okay, what am I going to call? Samuel. All of you that are not answering when I call your name, I'm taking notes. I'm actually taking notes, and I will not give you my gift. I actually have a gift for some certain people. But since you don't want to answer when I call your name, it's fine. Over to you, Samuel.
All right. Good evening, everyone.
Good
Actually,
evening.
I wasn't around for the 2 meetings. This is my first meeting.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. David, can you please share with us what you learned?
Good evening, everyone. Can anybody hear me?
Yes,
All
we
right.
can. Good evening, David.
Yes, I didn't learn much because I didn't attend I was unable to join early. But what I got from the second session, I think Dr. I can't really remember his name now. He's in Canada. He studied in China. So he said something that is profound. He said, I was profound. He said, if you can't get your dream country now, why not start from somewhere? So we are all pursuing US, UK, Canada, so on. Whereas there are opportunities in other countries that people are not focusing on. So just go through the route. Then in the long run, you can cross to your main country. He started from China, now he's in Canada, even a permanent resident. So that's what I got there.
All right, thank you very much, David. Is there any other person, or should I keep on calling names? Are you going to try and make it easier for me by just raising your hand, or should I call your name? Miracle Uma. I have hands raised, but I'll still come back to you, Miracle. Okay, Marian, please, Marian Chamaka.
Good evening, everyone. I was able to join the first, that's the the day one of the webinar, and I really learned something from the presenter that reviewed CVs and CVs, academic CVs. I learned that before you even start, you can't just use your general work CV to just apply, and even before you even apply or you even submit your CV, you need to go and check what that particular school wants, number of pages of CV they want, so that you can narrow, and whatever they require for to be in your CV, so that you can narrow your own CV in that line as well. That's what I really learned. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marian. Thank you. I'm really looking forward to today's session. Our first speaker is going to be speaking on live program and funding mapping. If you're like me, you always check online, what are the fully funded scholarships available to me as a Nigerian? I'm sure you're also very excited for today's event. Is there any update on our speaker?
Yes, I've been speaking with him, and currently we're trying to see if I can maybe project his screen for him while he speaks. So he'll be joining us as soon as possible. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Adana. Thank you. Let me see what I learned. Okay, from day 2. The first speaker, he told us that you have to really know that this scholarship is what you want for yourself. You're not just doing it because if you don't have the right motivation, it will wear off. You would get tired, you would give up too easily. Maybe when you see a couple of rejections, you won't be able to go forward. So I learned to sit with myself and know, is this what I want for myself? Where do I want to study? Hope my picking a country is not just based off, oh, my friend is going here, oh, my friend is here already. So that's what I learned from last week's session. In case in your mind you're wondering, she's asking us what did we learn, when can you tell us what you learned? So I've told you what I learned. So now I have right to keep on calling names. There was somebody I said I was going to come back to.
So Favor, let's go ahead with this speaker number 2. I think Mr. Delight Ezeh is ready.
All
Thank
right.
you very much.
Just give me a moment. Let me share my screen again. Sorry about that. Can we see my screen? Can anyone see my screen?
Yes, we can see it.
Yes.
Okay. Our speaker is Mr. Delight Ezeh, and he is a PhD candidate in energy technology at KTH Royal Institute of Technology in Stockholm, Sweden. His research focuses on decarbonizing process heat in high temperature industries, reflecting his broader ambition to become a leading expert in sustainable energy systems. He holds a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering from the Federal University of Technology, Owerri, Futo, and a master's degree from the Erasmus Mundus Dionysus program, jointly awarded by University of Leuven and UPC Barcelona. Beyond his research, he is passionate about fostering excellence in others, inspiring everyone to pursue the best version of themselves. Please, can we give a round of applause? Fire emoji, drop in the chat box your excitement to learn from our speaker, Mr. Delight Ezeh. Thank you very much. Mr. Delight, please.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me loud and clear?
Yes, we can.
Awesome. So yeah, I understand with technical issues, it could be a lot of things to deal with. And yeah, sometimes it's a lot of stuff. So welcome to every one of you who is here. And I'm really happy to be here. First of all, I'd like to thank the organizers of this initiative, Cable, Obasi Manuel. We went to school together, so we're actually in the same level when we're in Futo, and he had this vision to be able to contribute to the upcoming generation in terms of building career, academics, and leadership. And it's been very, very awesome. And the work he's done so far from photo days with very little funding, very little initiative, very little support, and building it up to what it is today. So I want to thank him. I also want to thank the organizers. I know it's not very easy to organize a program like this. People have different schedules. It was quite professional with the whole letters and stuff and the whole support. And I'm really appreciative of that fact. One thing I want to ask for the organizers is, one, how much time I have now that we have running a bit on a kind of ad hoc schedule. And second thing is, there's this sound, don't know when someone joins. So I don't know if there's something I can do to remove the sound or if it can be removed, because then it's a bit distracting, I think, for me as well. So those are the two things before I go on to share my screen.
Thank you very much, Mr. Delight. Yes, with regards to the sound, technical team will be looking into it, but I think you can proceed because of time. No,
okay.
Thank you.
Also, do you see my screen fully?
Yes, your screen is very clear, sir. Thank you.
Perfect. And you hear me loud and clear as well. So before I go.
Yes.
Okay,
perfect.
awesome. So awesome. So yeah, it's so awesome to have you guys here. I'll be presenting on strategic pathways to fully funded graduate applications in Canada, Europe, and Asia. But my focus this evening is going to be in Europe, right? And the focus of my presentation. For the content, I'm going to look at the introduction, more like my journey so far. I'm going to look at a master's application in Europe. I'm also going to look at PhD application in Europe as well, for some of us that probably might be master's students, some of us that might already have some master's scholarship and want to look at how the PhD works. Wondering, okay, I want to do my PhD as well. How does the PhD work compared to that in the US? I'm also going to look at time management, right? Managing multiple academic commitments. That's part of the things we're going to look at. Even when you get the scholarship, it's important to know how to navigate it properly. And lastly, I'm going to look at the right mindset, doing some kind of wrap up and conclusion into the mindset that I believe everyone should have when you're trying to attain or achieve these kinds of scholarship. So in my journey so far, so basically I'm Nigerian, of course, and I have a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering from FUTO, and that's the picture of my convocation there. Really very happy days and days of aspiration. And yeah, I got the scholarship I got was the DENSIS, so Decentralized Smart Energy Systems. I love this program so much because it really spoke to the learnings and the things I wanted to learn regarding renewable energy technology and energy systems in general. And I had my first mobility in France at Université de Lorraine, and my second mobility in UPC in Barcelona. And then also I did my master thesis. We're allowed to do our master thesis in company. So I did my master thesis in ArcelorMittal in Metz in France. And after that, I got a PhD position in KTH. And I'm doing a PhD in energy technology where I'm focusing on decarbonizing process heat through techno-economic assessments and some other experimental and material tests on thermal energy storage. So basically, this is me academically, career-wise, in a brief in terms of the relevance and the perspectives that we're here to speak to in cable. But I didn't just get there by chance. I wasn't just lucky to get the applications and all that. I actually went through a whole journey of struggle and applications. So I graduated with a first-class degree, of course. I had good results, had good prospects, but the whole journey was quite arduous, I would say. I first applied to Chevening. I had the rejection letters, Rhodes Scholarship with the University of Oxford. I got rejection after the first phase. For the Cambridge interview, I got to interview with the admissions committee in the energy technology department and got rejected after the interview. For PTDF, I also did the interview, and the interviewers were so nice. In fact, they made me seem like I already got it. They were like, when you get to Europe, study this, study that. And then they're like, oh no, you had a rejection. And the one that was even much difficult was the Commonwealth Scholarship, which I actually got put on the reserve list. So there was some kind of hope that you would get, admitted or you get the scholarship. And they were like, after a while, they were like, no, you didn't get accepted, probably because no one budged, no one gave up their space. And finally, I got the Erasmus Mundus, the densest one. So it was really a journey. So I put this slide here. Just because I want some of us to know that the journey is not straightforward. Sometimes it takes a lot of application, a lot of effort. It's not just a one-time thing. Some people are fortunate, right? They do it once and then boom, it clicks. But some people are not. And for me, it took a lot of applications, despite how good it was to do. So just to know and prepare your mind that you might probably apply more. And don't take it too hard if for some reason some things don't work out. So of course, I guess a lot of people have talked about the EU scholarship, but I think the next speaker, or who was meant to be the first speaker, would speak about, the details of, applying for scholarships like Erasmus and all that. But for me, I want to come more from the, how do you say, from the general perspective before bringing it down to the techniques or to the specifics, which I think the second speaker or the former first speaker was going to look into. The first thing when you're looking at applying for an EU Master's scholarship is to discover yourself, right? Most people just go into the application and they're just like, oh, I need to apply for scholarship. They don't really know themselves. They don't know what they want. They don't know what they would want in life, generally, what they like, what they can study. And then you find out in some rare cases, the people that actually make it with that kind of attitude, and they get here in Europe, they start studying things, and they're totally thrown off balance by what's being taught. So first thing, discover yourself. What do you want to achieve? What do you love doing? And what can you take? For instance, my own story was that I studied mechanical engineering, right? And after studying mechanical engineering, I was like, okay, what do I want to do? I had an option in air conditioning and refrigeration, so I learned thermodynamics, heat and mass transfer. And after that, I thought that, okay, I'm probably going to be good with energy. I began to like the energy space, began to like renewable energy technologies. I began to like some different things, right? That, I would say, that is key, into looking for a scholarship. So if you don't begin to know what you like, develop a passion and an interest, or an interest in a specific area, then it becomes much more difficult for you to understand or navigate choosing the right path for you, because it's not just about scholarships, it's about a career path. I don't want to put on a career path where you're, it makes you veer off in life and becomes much more difficult to get retraced. So think about what you want, what courses you want to study, what you can do. Sometimes it might be related to your bachelor's degree. Sometimes you might want to change entirely differently. We can talk about that later in the question and answer section, where you study something different and you want to study something else for a master's. Is it possible to get a scholarship and all that? But basically, this is the point. Discover yourself, what you like, what you can do, know your abilities. And the next point is discover your career. So amongst what you think you can do, discover what geopolitical zones have high need for your career. Because it's not just, okay, I want to go to US, I want to go to Canada, I want to go to here. No. So for instance, I know that I want to study sustainable energy, right? And solar, wind, all these things. I think about it. What countries are big on this kind of technology? What countries are big on this kind of research? What countries are big on this kind of companies, right? And of course, compared to countries like US and in Canada, Europe actually is very big on sustainable energy. They have a lot of research going on. They have a lot of projects. They have a lot of goals, a lot of policies. So of course, it made sense for me to study something related to renewable energy technology or sustainable energy technology here in Europe. So this is something some people don't do. So I want to go to Canada, but you have not thought about what the market for the career you want to choose is in Canada. The next thing is discover your study programs. After discovering your career, I think I'll back it up a step and even say, that for the discovering your career, another thing you could do is also think about the future, because now we're in the time of AI. So what I did was I thought about, okay, I want to study renewable energy technology, but will this still be relevant in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years, for instance? How can I venture into different aspects and different things? So you should think about that. You should think about that when you're trying to apply. And now I move straight to discovering your study program. So after thinking about what you want to do yourself, career, then you start searching, what are the programs that do what I need to do or do what I need to know? For instance, okay, you want to study, say, policy, or maybe you want to study something about environmental engineering, for instance. So what are the programs? Sometimes you find programs in those countries, specifically in those countries where you feel your career can thrive. In that context, what you can do is look for study programs. So scour the internet, look for schools. Start first of all with schools in whatever countries. Top schools in Germany, top schools in this. If you have a very good result, you can target the top school. If your result is not so good, you can look at maybe mid schools. And because the most important thing, which I got from one of the persons who was giving the feedback on what they learned from the last session, was that it's not just important to It's not just important to just sometimes you might not get exactly what you want to do, but you can start from somewhere and then proceed. So if you know your results not so good, you're like, I didn't have the first class, I didn't have the second class either, you can start targeting some things and have a plan. So for the study programs, sometimes what you want to study is not exact, so you have to really search. When you're searching, just search the name of the program, search the different catalogs, search the different, the different curriculum to see the courses that are being ordered and see if it's what you want. After you've done that, then you can start looking for the scholarship. So you can see that even before looking for the scholarships, you need to have done all this. So you're already assured of where you're going. You have your self-confidence and you know you want to do this. Then you can start looking for scholarship programs, everything and all of that. And before I proceed, I'd like to ask the organizer. So Adana, am I too fast or do I have to slow down a bit? Because I know that I could be faster sometimes. So I just want to get the feedback before I proceed.
Yeah, I appreciate the audience, saying that in the chat box. So please,
okay, yeah.
If you can hear Mr. Delights, just tell us. I can hear him clearly, and just indicate in the chat box.
Yeah, just to be sure I'm not too fast. Yeah, sometimes I can speak a bit. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Perfect. Yeah, because it's important to communicate and not just to dump the whole thing and just leave. I want you to leave home with something. Awesome. So then I continue with the same pace. Perfect. So the next step after that is what happens when you apply. So after you've done all those things and you've had your scholarship working for you, what happens when you apply? What do you do? I'm not going to go into the details of, maybe another session or maybe some personalized session later. I can talk more about, the art of writing SOPs, because that's a big thing. But one thing I would say is perfect your SOPs. When you apply, perfect your SOPs. I read a lot of SOPs. For some reason, I stopped reading because it was a lot of work. And I take SOPs personally. If you send me your SOP, I'm very personal with you. And I've seen different people at different levels. I know nobody was born to write perfect SOPs, right? Nobody was born to do that. But we have to learn. So for me, I had to learn. And I'll explain my journey later, maybe if you're in the question and answer section, if you need to be. But there are 5 major components of an SOP, in my experience. First is SOP alignment. You need to, and fluidity. So I'll talk with the first one, 1A, SOP alignment. You need to read what the scholarship program is asking for in your SOP. Some scholarship programs will say, we want students to highlight their professional experience, blah, 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 blah. Some people say, they want the SOP to be in a letter form. Some people say they want it to be 500 words. You need to know that information first before you start writing anything. Firstly, understand what they want in the SOP. Some other scholarship will not even mention anything. You just say, we need your SOPs. Then you can do what you want within the bounds of what I'm going to explain. But the first thing you need to do is you need to understand what the scholarship body requires to be written in your SOP. Some of them will state it clearly. Understand that part. In your SOP, highlight this, highlight that, show this. That's what they want, and they're specific. If you write your SOP and you don't capture those points, sorry, all right? But then if some scholarship don't mention anything, then you can follow these generic things. And fluidity, when you're writing your SOP, it should flow. The thoughts should flow. You should put yourself in the reader's shoes, and the thoughts of the SOP should flow. That's the first thing. It should be fluid, right? And so the first part of the SOP is what I call the interest statement. This is where you establish why you want to study the scholarship, or you create the background story of why you want to study or why you want to have that scholarship or what interested you. Now, interest statements can vary along. You can play different parts. You can play the pity party. I did that. I'm like, oh, since I'm applying to an energy program, oh, I'm from Nigeria. There's no power. I believe I can change the world. I can change the power system in Nigeria, blah. But yeah, you can start with that. But nowadays, it's becoming very common and becoming a cliche, where people have this pity party kind of thing. I come from a poor country. My dad died. Tragic, blah, blah, blah thing. It works if you do it the right way. But most of these professors have been reviewing thousands of applications. So if it's not genuine, then it's just there. So for me, if you're going to go with that aspect of interest statement, then be genuine, make sure it's punchy. Then another one which I recommend is the problem definition interest statement, whereby as a person, you can start to state problems that exist in the world and link it to your course. So for instance, say I want to study something related to cancer research. I can start my SOP with about 5,000 people in the world, blah, 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 blah. This percent of people die of this every day. Doctors have little or no cure to this, blah, 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 blah. And then you can say in the area of cancer research, there's been little done here. And being someone who's attracted to caring about people, I want to, contribute to solving this problem, hence my application. So these are problem statements that are valid in the world, not just valid for Nigeria alone, but valid in the world, which you can put together and make your own interest statement, right? And for me, this is punchy because if you capture something right and you're able to put it in a good way, it's a plus. Next thing is experience or education. Now, you have to state your experience or education or what makes you a perfect fit. One mistake I see that people do is that people state experiences, people state their education, but they do not state why or how those experiences or how those education supports or make them a perfect fit. So basically, someone will just say, yeah, I graduated from this, that, and I have experience in this, and then move over to another paragraph. And I'm wondering, why did you tell me all this information? But if you're saying, I have a graduate degree from this, I studied this and this, and this places me on a better pedestal to achieve this or to be a better student or to understand more, then you're being able to link those experiences to specific needs or things that make you a perfect fit. You're showing how those experiences make you a perfect fit for the program. And the next thing is program echo. The SOP should resound some parts of the program. So you should be able to state what part of the program is interesting to you. So you should be able to have some of those lines where you say, yeah, I really look forward to taking XYZ course or taking XYZ practical or participating in XYZ project. That makes your SOP great. The last is career link. How does the master's program or the scholarship, how is it going to aid your career? Or and normally I put this towards the end, or depending on how you write, it could also be linked to the problem statement in the beginning. Because you can't be saying, I want to solve cancer research. And then at the end of the day, maybe I want to contribute to cancer research. At the end of the day, you're like, oh no, I want to work in a pharmaceutical marketing firm. Doesn't make sense, right? So the career link should also be linked to your problem statement in a way, but you should be able to show how the program contributes to your career. I took a lot of time on the SOP. I know that's a major problem, but I guess some speakers have already said something about that, and probably new speakers are going to say things about that. Now let's move a bit quicker because I have limited time. The next thing is perfect your reference letter. Please make sure you reach out to professors ahead of time. Don't, don't give them 2 weeks notice. No, tell them 4 months beforehand. Hey, professor, I'm applying for this scholarship. I'm going to need this. 2 months beforehand, tell them when you start applying the scholarship, I need to do this. 1 month, send them reminders, and then they appreciate the fact that you planned ahead. Those letters must have two things. First, it must not be generic. I have seen some letters and I'm like, no, this is generic. They're like, to whom we concerned. I recommend XYZ for any postgraduate program, but generic. Doesn't make sense. No points. I recommend XYZ for this specific program, even if the person repeats the same wordings he used for all the reference letters, but at least it should, at the end, it should be able to state the specific program at the end, right? And the next thing is to ensure that the letters are addressed as demanded by the program. So if they say address it to the admission committee, blah, then make sure you do what they say. And it's very important. It's so important that, I don't know, but my program coordinator, he read some snippets from my reference letter on the day of my graduation during my master's. So you can imagine that after 2 years, he still held those words dearly to him. So you can imagine how important the recommendation is. So don't joke with that. The next step is English language requirements. So please, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. There are different variants. I can also give some comments, but make sure you know what English language requirements is. Some programs, and it's different, especially for Erasmus and for Europe. Some programs like that Nigerians speak English, and it's one of our official languages, and they allow us to not write the IELTS or the TOEFL, and maybe they ask for us to provide some documentation showing that we studied the English class. Some programs be like, no, especially the UK, they want to still see your IELTS or your TOEFL, So yeah, be sure of that. And sometimes if you're so ambitious, you can push back. I know I pushed back in my Cambridge application. They told me you should have IELTS, and I said, hey, I was born whatever in Nigeria. I studied English since my primary school. Whatever I studied in English, I work in English. So I think I'm proficient enough for what you need. And they accepted. They were like, okay, we accept this. I wrote the letter to them saying, you know, asking for them to defer that. I didn't have the money to do that at that time. So then I wrote that, yeah, I'm proficient in English, but you have to be proficient in English, you know. And even the way I wrote the letter, they could see that, yeah, this guy really knows the English he's talking about. And then they told me that they would accept that in place of the IELTS, but then I would need to do some courses when English course when I come there. That's just an example. So if you don't have, you can push back a bit, and probably they can. But please know the English language requirement. And the last thing is videos and interviews. I don't want to go in depth into these things because this is a whole discussion. But ensure that you contact people on LinkedIn from previous programs who have done videos or interviews to get insights into what's required. Maybe even see their own video. Like for me, it was a game changer. It was a game changer. It was a game changer for me because when I was going to do for my program, when I applied for the dentist program, they asked for a video. I haven't done a video before in my life for this kind of applications. What do I do? What do I highlight? What's the most important thing? And I reached out to one of the, if you don't find Nigerians, reach out to people anyways. So I reached out to one of the people there. He told me, do this. I have a video released already. I can share the link. He shot a video on how to make Erasmus videos. And I used that and it was crazy. I didn't have the best camera quality, but I used subtitles, I used some small background music, I used some moving pictures. It was very bad in terms of quality, but the content was solid. And, you know, I'm here today. So contact people. Don't be shy. Reach out on LinkedIn politely. Don't reach out in a hurry. The deadline can't be in 2 weeks and you're reaching out now. No, reach out 3 months ahead. Send reminders. You know, this person is serious, and then they can respond because people are busy. They're going about their way of life every day. Next, I move to beyond Erasmus. I know a lot of talk is going to be focused on Erasmus, so I didn't want to focus on Erasmus alone because Erasmus is not the only EU scholarship, but it's a big one because there are different programs, and I think the next speaker is going to do justice to that. So the other scholarship you can look at that scholarship for Germany, France Excellence IFU Scholarship, Masterclass Foundation in the UK and in other countries. I think in South Africa as well, and maybe in Canada, I think. Rhodes Scholarship, which is more on University of Oxford for some of you that have really very good results. You could do that, or very good stories or some experience. And in Nigeria, you have PTDF. For those of you that have petroleum inclinated studies, or probably have a way to link your course of studies to something related to petroleum. And then there's also like Total Energies doing some kind of funding as well for them. There's one more for Sweden. I think it's ISI. I can't remember because I didn't go through that route. But for the masters, maybe I can reach out to the organizers later to ask one for Sweden. There's something like ISL or ISI scholarship for if I remember correctly. Now, moving on, we'll look at beyond the masters. Now we're going to PhD for some of you that are asking about okay, in the US, for instance, you can get direct, you can reach out to professors and you can get direct funding for the PhD in the US. But how does it work in Europe? So I'm going to move on to now. So how do EU PhD program work? The first thing is in the US, where you just reach out from your bachelor's level and then you can get the funding. At least in Europe, 99.99% of what I know, you must have completed your bachelor's and then you must have up to 90 credits of master's education. But the thing I found out is that you can also apply as a master's degree holder in Nigeria. Of course, the application processes are very, very, and unfortunately, I'm not going to say anything about our education system in Nigeria, but well, you know, maybe we need to do a lot more work in comparison with what other countries are doing. I think I would say it that way. So sometimes it's can be a disadvantage applying from a master's degree in Nigeria. But then if you knew you were doing your master's degree and it's something relevant to the PhD, they could definitely hire you. I've seen people in my PhD program, where people from Iran that applied from Iran. They did their master's in Iran and they applied. Of course, what they did was very central to the PhD topic, but they were from Iran and they applied and they got it. People from Brazil, they had no EU masters at all, but the trick they did and everything they were able to put together a very solid application. So it's possible, but it's going to be very tough. But easier if you're already schooled in the European or even any of the masters in anywhere in the world. As long as it's a master's degree, it's up to 90 ECTS. They have the way they measure it. But if you do like a 2-year master or a 1.5-year master's, it will be sufficient to get to 90 credits. Of course, like I said, it's not like the US where you can apply directly with a bachelor's degree, and it takes 3 to 5 years depending on the country. So some countries are 3 years PhD. So of course you already have a master's. So probably you took you 2 years to do your master's, and you have 3 extra years, 4 extra years, or 5 extra years, depending on the country. And funding structure. How does the funding structure work? Unlike the masters, where you have scholarships, you have fees, and you have scholarships that cover those fees, or maybe different scholarships that cover those fees. The PhD is not like that. And the PhD is more like a recruitment for the PhDs in Europe. The universities secure funding via research project grants with industries and everything. And when the universities have those funding, then they put out doctoral positions. No, it's not doctoral scholarships, depending. They call it doctoral position because they're hiring someone to satisfy something. And some funders collaborate with universities. So some funding bodies have some universities that they collaborate with, and they apply for all these kinds of grants. Companies also open, so you have a company, say ArcelorMittal, for instance, where I did my master thesis, they could open a portal and say, we're looking for an industrial PhD student. So you find that, I'm saying all these things for you to know where you can find those opportunities. So you can find out that on the website, they have industrial PhD at maybe steel manufacturing, for instance. And then you apply and boom, you get it. You didn't have to apply to a school, you don't have to do any of those things, you get it. But the thing with that, those have industrial PhDs is that they already have chosen universities that they have chosen to collaborate with already. So you don't have control of the school that you're going to be assigned to. So you don't have the control, but then for the exact content, you have the control to do that. And the next thing is topics are already established. So unlike the US, where at some point you have to write a research proposal, blah, 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 most cases in Europe, the topics are already established. Like, of course, you have some flexibility to decide what you want to research on within the bounds of your topic, but the topics are already decided. So you have to be very careful about that. And if you have something specific you want to work on, and then it's to really look for positions that offer something specific as such. But Germany could be a very big exception. I think most of my friends in Germany, they wrote writing project proposals when applying, so you could take note of that as well. And funding structure is very different in the UK. Unlike here, where companies get or universities get funding and then hire PhD students. In UK, it's like masters. So you have fees to pay, and you need to get a scholarship to pay for that. So you're not being employed. You also need to cover your living costs, blah, 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 blah. So, I mean, for the PhDs, it's like a monthly, I would pay school fees. Instead, you're paid. So then it's almost like a scholarship, but then you're being paid to do real life research that affects companies or industries. But in the UK, you have school fees to pay, and then you use the scholarship money to pay. And then you can get some other scholarships for your living costs as well. I'll ask just hold on. I just do a bit of housekeeping here. Sorry, just 1 second. I'm trying to do a bit of housekeeping here. I'm trying to do the thing. I don't see the place where I could, okay, settings, audio. I'm trying to remove the bell sound so we don't keep hearing the sound when people come and go. Turn on studio sound. I don't find the settings, but I think we can continue. Yeah, and I go on to the next slide here. What are the different scholarship sites for the PhD where you can get the PhD scholarships? Not scholarship or position. So I put some of them. There's Marie Curie Scholarship Actions, there's Eureka Pro, there's Seed Doctoral Program, there's Euraccess. So yeah, you can go check out those websites. Another good thing, you can check out universities' websites. You can check Université de Lorraine, for instance, and look for PhD positions. You can connect with the professors on LinkedIn. Maybe if you connect with now also this could also work. Just the way you do for US and Canada, you can send cold emails, or not, I don't want to call them cold email, but you could go on LinkedIn, connect with professors from those universities whose work you've already seen. Now, the problem is that when you send the cold email, sometimes they don't even have funding to hire another PhD. So you could be unlucky and you don't have funding, but if you connect with them and state your interest, perhaps when they post because they always post their PhD positions on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is very important, very powerful. Always post their PhD positions, and you can go there and say, hey, I'm interested, and then you can apply, blah blah blah, have a conversation if you want. And you don't just say I'm interested, or know me, I'm here, let me see me, so that when I apply you can know my name. But you can ask them, a good strategy to ask them to explain more about what the topic is going to look like and what they expect from the PhD student, and then more details about those things. So when you're discussing with them, then, it could be a way that they could note your name. So you don't say, hey, I'm here, it doesn't work like that. So what makes for a good PhD application when you're applying for PhDs, how do you increase your chances? The funny thing is, for this first point, apply for positions close to your education or area of expertise. The truth is, actually, I was looking for jobs after my master's, right? But the PhD I applied for was the only PhD I applied to. It's strange. Like, people don't believe me. People are like, yeah, come on, you're lying. No, that was the only PhD I applied for, because I was very picky about PhD. If I'm going to study something for 4 years, I need to be very interested in what I'm studying. I need to be studying something close to my area of expertise. I don't want to have so much knowledge gap when doing the PhDs. I mean, if you're very good at exploring, then maybe you could do that. But for me, I wasn't. So I'm like, okay, I'm not going to do that. Apply for positions close to your education or area of expertise. Be ready to display solid writing prowess when applying. So they're going to test it. They're going to ask you to send, maybe if you've written articles. If you've not written articles, no problem. They'll ask for your master thesis. They'll ask you for some technical thing. They want to see that you can write. There's no BS in this one. This is required. So be prepared for that. And prepare a punchy application and your CV. Make your CV punchy. Make sure that your CV is not generic, it's tailored towards the position. Put projects that you've done that's related to the project, probably in your master's. And next thing is get solid references. PhD recruiters value reliability, because PhD is going to be for a long period of time. And you're going to be working closely with supervisors. They want to be sure that when they give you the position, you're going to do well. But you're going to do what they want you to do. And they really value the references. They called 2 of my referees. They really spoke with them. So you need to make sure that those referees you're giving can speak well about you and speak up for you. And the last thing is, be ready to answer questions about the motivation for your PhDs. Because a lot of PhDs quit after the first year. It's quite tough. It's like sometimes you can be working on something and you wouldn't see the end result until after 2 years. So how do you keep yourself motivated within those 2 years? So one of the things they want to know is, how motivated are you to complete the program? And it's a very important question they ask. I'm running out of time, so I'm going to rush a bit. Now I move to the point, for some of us that already either are in school or would definitely come or become holders, master's scholarship holders, and will have to deal with, lots of academic activities. How do you manage these multiple academic commitments, or any commitments generally, especially when you're in Europe or in anywhere where you do a lot of group projects and there's a lot of things to do? I divided into 3 things. Of course, there are more. There's time management, there's multicultural team maneuvering, and there's adaptation. So these are things that help. I'm going to speak on the last 2 because I have more slides on time management. But on multicultural team maneuvering, I notice a lot of things when Nigerians come here to Europe to study, and it's no shade on you at all. But we try to stick together with our African brothers. We want to stick with people that are from Nigeria. We want to do projects with them. And you end up missing the benefits of interacting with other people from other countries that might even be smarter, right? So you shouldn't do that, no. And that's how I worked. So, I mean, of course, it's not going to be easy, right? Because you come from different cultures, different backgrounds. You come from different perspectives. And people from India, like my program had 17 different nationalities: Spain, Germany, Peru, Kazakhstan. It was crazy. So how do you do that? That's part of the experience, to be able to work with people from different cultures. I'm very polite. In Nigeria, we're so polite. Yes, sir. They're Professor XYZ. And some people from, for example, the Indian brothers, are really very, very direct. So I write an email and it's like, please kindly find attached. And the Indian guy is like, PFA, this, bye, that kind of thing. So how do you understand this kind of things? How do you navigate this environment? Understand that you have to be open to this, because there are a lot of people, and it's important because sometimes when you're forming teams, of course, sometimes you're the center of competence. You're the best person, especially if you're doing an Erasmus. An Erasmus program is wide. So there are a lot of multidisciplinary. And of course, there are some disciplines you will know a lot about, but there's some disciplines you'll be good at. So when you're forming teams, for example, I did mechanical engineering, right? And my master's was chemical engineering, mechanical and electrical. I was doing 3-phase generators. I had never done that before. I don't even have the basics apart from basic electricity. So how do I survive? First of all, I show myself as someone competent. Second, I show myself as someone who's likable and someone who's open to multicultural interactions. And thirdly, I get ready to put in my own weight. I know that I have the strong points of taking notes. So my notes are always, like I still have my notes now in my tab. I can show you from the first year. I always talk about, if there's anything any professor wants talks about, I'm for sure have it down. Sometimes when I was doing my master thesis, some of my colleagues would call me, hey, they like, do you have the note on this? I'm doing something now, I just send them a PDF. So they knew me for that. So they're sure that if there's anything the professor said, I didn't miss it. Even if I didn't understand it, I didn't miss it. I wrote it down somewhere. And it was shocking because during the group works, they have the expertise on electrical engineering. It's a very tough thing to do. I'm there, I'm supporting, I'm looking through my notes, saying, yeah, what professor said we should do this and do that. If you don't present yourself as this, life will be hard as a master's student, because then you would have, you'll be in situations whereby when they have group projects, people don't want to collaborate with you because they're not sure if you can pull your weight. You're not showing yourself as someone you have to be the smartest person in the room because people are from different countries. Some people have more, are exposed to better education than we had in Nigeria. So you need to really show that. I showed that a lot. And people wanted to collaborate with me. So my groups were so smooth. Of course, sometimes we had differences in how we view things, in terms of our personality. I'm always the planning one. I want to do things ahead. Some people are more spontaneous. So, but at least in terms of forming groups, I didn't have issues with it. So they're like, hey, you guys are going to do a group work on this, blah, blah, blah. After sending WhatsApp message, I'm like, hey, do you want to be in my group? Hey, do you want to be in my group? And I know people, that I ask, for those kinds of group at those specific topics. So be very wise about how you form groups, because it can make or mar you. Literally, it can make or mar you. And if you form bad groups, you start dragging the whole groups. People are not really as competent as you want them to be. Or maybe you are doing a course where you yourself are not competent because you don't have the background. But there are people that you see that have that. So you should be able to speak up and go out and reach out to them. But that wouldn't have been possible if you didn't break the ice with everyone. So another thing I did was when I came in the master's program, I broke the ice. So I was very strategic. Some people were easier to talk to because they're more outgoing, but some other people were not. But I was very intentional in reaching out and say, hey, my name is How. Hey, how are you doing? I'm delighted. What's happening? How do you see this? And just interacting with them. Oh, this food, I heard it's from your country. What's it called? That kind of thing. Building that ice-breaking moment so that it's easy to interact with them. I move on now to adaptation. And adaptation is very important because sometimes you might need to change how you speak, for instance. It's not everyone cannot learn how to speak a British accent or an American accent or anything. I didn't speak this way when I left Nigeria. I was still very, 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 I would say crude in how I spoke, but they don't understand. Sometimes you're like, I say this and they're like, what did you say? And I'm like, I did 3 times. And I'm like, okay, nah, I need to step up. I need to speak better. I need to slow down. I need to understand that people, for instance, for example, I think we're doing a group work one day, and there was a German guy. So after 11 p.m., his brain is not working. There's nothing you can do. That's it. So you need to adapt that people are different, and that helps you in managing the academic commitments accordingly. Now I move to time management. I'll look at pillars of time management very briefly. First pillar of time management is time consciousness, right? Because time management is important not just in terms of doing the masters, but also in preparing your application, for instance. Because some of us are working, some of us are doing a lot of things, and it's important. Time consciousness, some people are not conscious of time. They don't know when time passes. 1 hour has passed and they have no clue. I can literally estimate how much time has passed based on what I'm doing. I mean, it was only if I'm sitting in front of maybe an empty space without no clock or not doing anything that I will probably not know the time. But if I'm with my phone or if I'm anywhere doing some activity, I can be able to know that, okay, this much time has passed. And time consciousness is not just about being aware of time or being aware of, always checking your clock all the time, but also being aware of the desire to be punctual and really meaning it. So some people are like, oh, well, I like to come early, but I don't know, I come late all the time. I like to do this early, but I end up always being in the last minute. But they don't mean it from their heart. If you check their heart, they're like, oh, no, I don't care. But if you're really serious, you have to be really serious about being on time, being punctual, making sure you do things in a timely manner. And that way, that explains time consciousness. Of course, there could be other pillars, but these are the pillars I could come up with. The next is time monitoring or time measurement. Now, time monitoring or measurement, to be able to estimate how much time it takes you to do some menial tasks or some tasks that you do regularly. So for instance, say, for example, I know how much time it takes me to prepare to get to work. Like, for example, if I wake up in the morning, the time it takes me to stand up from the bed to actually be leaving the door out, fully dressed for work. I know exactly how much that time is. I know if I, for example, if I'm going for a conference, I need to wear a suit. Probably it's going to take me maybe 10, 15 minutes extra to button up things, to straighten my collar and all those things. I'm very aware of that. So at every given point, I can estimate with almost perfect precision how much time it's going to take me to do something. And it's the same with tasks at work or at school. With time, you begin to understand. Of course, sometimes maybe if you're working on code, sometimes it could be just some crazy bugs in the code and it takes your time. But at least for some basic tasks, you estimate this is how much time it's going to take me to do this. That helps you with the next point, which is time planning or time scheduling. Because if you're conscious of time, roughly how long something should take you to do things, you can schedule. And time scheduling is very important. Some people I notice are either over scheduling or under scheduling. And I work with a lot of people, starting from some of this Mediterranean region, they're always on the schedule. So I check my Google Map and they say 12 minutes. They'll say, it's just 10 minutes walk. In my mind, it's 15 minutes, but in their mind, it's 10 minutes. Who's going to be late? They're going to be late. I won't be late because if I leave 15 minutes ahead, probably I get there in time, just in time. But they leave 10 minutes, they're probably either going to be running or arriving just a few seconds in, breathing hard. Well, it's up to you to decide. Another point in time scheduling is planning way ahead of time. For the master's students that are here, plan your schedule of, for long ahead of time. Like right now, I know I'm going to be doing in September, at least up to the end of September. I know the main work streams I have, and I already know how they interplay within each other. But some of you are applying for scholarships. Scholarships are going to open October from maybe June. So I'm going to start in June, July, August, September. Start now to do the searching. Start now. What does it take to prepare all the application materials and have a folder, have an Excel file. After you go through all the whole soul searching we talked about, have the names of the program, the list, and everything, and then have a folder. Rhodes Scholarship, all the applications you need. You start. What will it take you if you go ahead of time and start writing those things and saving? So once the application opens, you recheck, you send to people who are experts at the field, and then you get them doing what they need to do. What does it take? Nothing, right? So it's important to schedule time. I'm going to spend much time here. Next thing is time discipline. So this is the discipline, and after you've scheduled things, you should be able to stick to those things. One thing that helps is alarms. Set alarms. I know it's very hard, especially when you schedule time for pleasure or schedule time to just maybe unwind. The problem is that's the most difficult thing to do. When you schedule time to unwind and then you get carried away and then it's 1 hour, 2 hours, and yeah, you need time discipline to keep to things. And before I go to the next point, which is time priority, but time discipline also means sticking to something when difficult. Okay, I've made out 2-3 hours to work problem, work on this. I started and I'm not making headway. Time discipline entails that I stick to it. One tip is that the brain always avoids very difficult tasks. So whenever you want to do something difficult, the brain is going to have some kind of resistance. It's going to have some kind of resistance anytime you try to do something that's difficult. So be aware of that fact and stick to your time discipline. The next step is time priority, right? So prioritize things, and it's going to lead to the next thing I'm going to say. Not everything's a priority. Not everything's a priority. And in the next slide, I'm going to talk about how to prioritize time. So the first thing I captured as how to prioritize this one is my own. You won't find it anywhere. I use AI to generate this photo. The first thing is central time blocks. So what do I mean by central time blocks? There are central things in your day that are most important. When you wake up in the morning, what's most important for you to achieve that day? That's a central time block. For some of us, it could be different, depends on priority. Some of us could be a doctor's appointment. Some of us, it could be maybe a presentation you need to finish. Some of us, it could be that you have maybe an exam. Some of you, it might be that you have an interview. It might be that you're going to church in the evening or you're going to something. That's a central thing. So basically, you schedule your time around that. So On the day, for example, you have an exam, that should not be the day that you want to go to, say, immigration. Why? Because if push comes to shove, it might be delayed, and if you're pressed for time and you're thinking you're under kind of stress, when will they finish? So make sure you don't have too many central blocks in one day, except maybe it's so stringent, which of course we review that probably you didn't plan your time well, except in an emergency case, then of course I understand. But the day you have something important, it's not a day to add other things that are not central. So for example, let's say I have the flight, for instance. Today I'm catching a flight by 3 p.m., but I also have to go to work. So what do I do? Right? Of course, I'm not going to be back home. So it means that I'm going from work. So it means first thing I need to do is I need to wake up early to ensure that I arrange the house. I put the house in such a way that I'm comfortable leaving it for however long I'm taking the flight to. It means I might have to wake up early, right? And waking up early means I have to sleep early. And sleeping early means I have to return from work early. So you can see how they link. That's my time block. I cannot miss that flight because it's very expensive to rebook. So I target everything. Okay, how am I going to work today? That's not the time I'm going to, say, pick up a meeting by 1 p.m. No, I'm not going to pick up that meeting because I have a flight at 3 p.m. These are things that you build your schedule around, and it determines what you do. It determines how you do them. It determines the different things that are there. And if you have those central things in your time, you have those appointments and your time blocks, then it's important. It tells you what to plan, when those things should come. And then if you have the right time estimation skills, you'll be fine. The next one is something that we all know. Probably you've seen it before. If you listen to speakers like Vusi Tembekwayo, probably talked about this a lot, is the Eisenhower decision matrix. So it's not urgent, important, and not important. So basically that's what it says. If it's urgent and important, do it now. If it's not urgent and it's important, schedule a time to do it. If it's not important but it's urgent, delegate. But sometimes as PhD student or master student, you can't delegate anything, right? So you have to figure out a way. And then if it's not urgent or important, delete it. And sometimes it's also some not urgent and not important things, like maybe responding to messages, depending on who's sending the message. You can't delete those tasks. You have to do them. So yeah, I think one of the things I want to say is try and work within this region here to decide. Now, so basically you can't be having urgent and important tasks all the time. It's a very bad region to work. You should try to work at points where you have important things that are not urgent. That's the best place to always be. So if you have tasks, if you're always working on that specific quadrant where you're always doing tasks that are important but not urgent, that's the best workflow. You won't be under stress and all kinds of things. So basically, I hope I have been able to do justice to that. And that brings me to the next point, which is my conclusion. And here it's more about building the right mindset and to scholarship application. And I tag different mindsets, right? The first mindset that I tag is the positive and winning mindset. In scholarship applications, you're going to have a lot of hurdles. Document things you don't know, things you can't see the screen. My screen, can everyone see my screen? Because my screen is still shared. Is there any issue with the screen? Perfect. So I guess maybe whoever said they can't see the screen, probably it's a network problem or something from your end. It's showing perfectly. A positive and winning mindset. So a positive mindset is a mindset that keeps on going, irrespective of whatever thing comes its way. That first, some of us do not believe that we can do things. Some of us do not believe, like, oh, scholarship, it's for the 2%. They're like, they're only going to take 15 people out of 700 and out. Oh my God. Why not you? That's a question. Why not you? So think about it. Don't reduce yourself to not believing that you can achieve things. My testimony, people that have done this, is a testament that I think it's one of the things that held a lot of people down for a long time, is that there were no examples to show them that some things were possible. Right? And then they couldn't believe that they could do it. But then when they finally found people started moving, then they were like, oh, this is possible. And then they're thinking about it. Maybe I don't have a good certificate. I didn't graduate with 2.1. I graduated with 2.2. It's possible. There is a way. But if you don't have the right mindset, you wouldn't see a way. You wouldn't see a way. I graduated with 2.2, but you could have work experience. You could target lower schools. Schools are not so competitive. You start from there and you build. Then you get more leverage. But you wouldn't see that option if you don't have a positive mindset. You just shut it down and say, it's not for me, blah, and I'm done. The next point is a proactive mindset. This is to get a scholarship or to get scholarship. An important mindset is to have a proactive mindset. You have a proactive, because scholarships are about information needs to be shared. A lot of things happening. You have to be proactive. You can't start applying for scholarships now when a lot of things, it's just 2 weeks to. You're going to be in a pickle. Who's going to review your application? Who's going to write you a reference? You have to be proactive. Discover everything you need to know. Proactive mindset reaches out on LinkedIn, connect with people, is cautious when connecting with people. I get some people in my DMs and making it like, please, you would review my SOP. Who the heck are you? You just give a command. I will review your SOP for what? You don't care about if I have the time or not. You're sending it quite late. So that's a proactive mindset. And the next mindset is a teachable mindset. Is a mindset that I would say learns, unlearns, and relearns. And it's ready to take correction. When I used to take a lot of SOP reviews, I had people that I would send back 6 times. I say, hey, adjust this, because I take it personally. If I agree to review your SOP for any reason, I'm going to review it. I'm going to be very, very detailed about it. Told them 6 times, and they went back 6 times, and guess what? They got the scholarship. They came back again. Oh, we have a presentation. They sent me the first version. I was very cautious. I was like, this one caught it. Do this, do that, do that, do that. They took it. Boom. They got through the face. They got the scholarship. I had other people. I send my comments, and they're arguing with me. And they're good arguments. They're trying to show a reason. This is what I was trying to do. Did you understand what I was trying to do? But they're also bad arguments. And I'm like, up to you. If you're not teachable, you wouldn't review your SOP 6 times, because not all of us have the experience on how to write SOP. It's not a big thing. It's something you can learn. So be teachable. And the next point is a persistent mindset. A persistent mindset is one who continues and continues, despite all the odds available there. And one thing I can say is that you could see I applied for those 7 different scholarships, and I got the last one, or the 7th one. If I wasn't persistent, I probably have given up at maybe the 5th or the 4th. So keep on keeping, keep on applying, keep on doing things. Don't stop. That's the persistent mindset, and that persistent mindset cannot be possible if you don't have a positive mindset. All right, and that persistent mindset cannot be possible if you don't have a proactive mindset to know what to do before then. And the last point is a practical mindset. I know a lot of us want scholarships, you have things to do, but honestly, scholarship is not the end of the world. Hopefully not, but if you don't make the scholarship, life is going to go on. So you need to have a practical mindset. You think about what's happening in my career right now, what's happening in my business space right now, what's happening here, what's happening there. You need to have a job. Scholarship is expensive to pursue. You probably need to IELTS or whatever. And if you don't have a job, it's hard to get funding from other people saying I'm pursuing scholarships alone. So even if it's pursuing scholarship, do not put all your eggs in one basket, right? Ensure that you are also doing something about your professional life, continuously about your career, and then your scholarship is part of the things you're aspiring toward, but it shouldn't hold down your professional developments. For instance, while applying for, so if you can check my LinkedIn profile, I actually had to get a job in the bank, in the tech division of the bank, because it was just after COVID, and I needed money. I had to work. I lived in Lagos then, so it was like leaving house by 4:50 a.m. in the morning, coming back by 9-10 p.m. in the evening, navigating through all of the websites, blah, when applying. But that's just the practical aspect of it. I couldn't say I'm really, really hopeful I'm going to get a scholarship and I just sit at home and don't do anything. That makes your life miserable. Be practical as well. While I was doing that, I was also practical about my steps as a professional. I was applying to top-level energy firms in Nigeria. I was already interviewing with them. In fact, when I arrived at France, I got an email for the final interview for one of the very top energy firms in Nigeria. I was like, oh, I'm so sorry I couldn't take it, but that's the spirit. In as much as I was hopeful and confident in my application, I was also practical about it, that life moves on, irrespective of whether you get a scholarship or not. But I see some people who are so invested. It's important to be invested, don't get me wrong. That's why we're doing the webinar, to get information out there. But at the same time, you should also make sure that your life is not halting just because you're doing a scholarship application, because it's not the end of life. Who knows? Probably it could also be through your professional career. You get to also explore outside of the country. So I hope I've been able to put out this point so far. I know it's quite a lot of sessions, quite packed, a lot of information. I didn't have the time to go much deeper into some things, but I hope maybe I could answer more questions in the question and answer section. Thank you very much for your time, and I'll be waiting for your questions.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Delight, for that session. It was very insightful. We'll be moving on to Q&A now, and we'll start with the question on the chat box. Then if you have any question, you raise up your hand. The first question, can you please come again on the PhD programs available in the UK/Europe?
All right, so I'm gonna go back in my slides. I can't remember the slide number. Maybe slide. I have to go with all the animations. Yeah, perfect. That's this one. Yeah. So basically, in the EU, there are probably more, right? The slides for the presentation will be shared. I already shared them with the organizers, so they'll share a PDF of that with you after for those who are asking for the slides. But for the guy or the person asking for these are the EU scholarships, and this is just EU, right? Marie Curie, Eureka Pro, C Doctoral, XESS. Basically, what you can do is go on Google, search these things. I hope there's no block in terms of VPN, but I think basically you get all these things, right? If you search these things and you look for the websites that have the genuine website of these names, you see a lot of opportunities there for PhDs. So we look at, aside that Eura XESS, for instance, also has not just PhDs, research, or some industrial PhDs as well. I know I saw some from Stellantis then when I was going to apply, and they didn't fit me, so I didn't bother applying for them. But probably you could find something useful there. And in the UK, I think in UK, one of the scholarships I know is Gates Cambridge. So Gates Cambridge, but it's very competitive. It's like people from the US apply for those things to come to UK. So Gates Cambridge is a scholarship from the Gates Foundation, Bill Gates and Melinda Gates Foundation, where they fund the whole PhD. And then if you're going for, I'm talking for high level schools because I was literally very mad when I was applying for scholarship. That's what I'm talking about, the positive mindset. Like, I didn't believe in any obstruction. I was like, Oxford, why not me? Cambridge, why not me? And the funny thing is, I have friends right now that are in Oxford or in Cambridge because they reached out to me and I gave them some of the tips I got when I learned, things I learned when I applied for Cambridge and all that, and now they're there. So, and Gates Cambridge does for the UK. I don't know any other scholarships for the UK apart from Gates Cambridge, but maybe individual schools might have. But that I'm able to say for now.
Thank you, Mr. Delight. Our next question is, what is it that the admission committee really needs in our application? And can I use a professional master's to apply for a PhD?
Professional master's, let me start with that. What do you mean by professional master? I mean an MBA. I don't know. If you're going to apply with an MBA, you have to apply to something related to business. And it has to satisfy so it has 90 ECTS, which is how they count credits here in Europe. So if the master's is 90 ECTS and it satisfies the technical knowledge that's needed, for instance, I'm doing a master in a PhD in energy technology. I don't think they're going to accept you if you do a master's in business because, it doesn't relate. But if you're doing a master's in a PhD in industrial economics, for instance, then maybe a master's in business or something can work. And the next thing about what the admission committee looks for, I think 5 things or 6 things. First, the academic intellect is very important for them. You have to score high if you've been the very competitive ones. But if not, there are also other ways around. And then they look for motivation, authentic motivation in terms of how the SOP is structured, and look at your career journey, how you're able to explain it through the SOP. They look at your references as well, and what other things do they look for? Sometimes also, if you do a video, for me, Dances was a video. In the video, they look for authenticity, your ability to convince them. Now, that's the thing. It's very hard to write SOPs because you're trying to brag about yourself, but you don't want to sound braggadocious, for instance. So basically, you're like, yeah, I can do this, but I don't want to sound too high sounding because then it sounds like you're proud or you're just empty. I've watched different videos, like quality videos, like everything, but like, nah, not genuine. And I've watched other videos, not so great in quality, but they have the content. Right? So they look for that genuine interest, and you find that you're able to convince them that you're the right fit for the program. Sometimes it could also be sheer luck, because sometimes they're looking for students from different and different points in life. So basically, sometimes it could just be that you have everything, but Maybe there's someone from Oman, for instance, that they've never had in their program before, and you lose a scholarship to someone from Oman. So that's why you need to apply for a lot of them. Apply not just for a lot of them, but apply well, pay attention to each of those applications. Like if you see this application, as I said in the beginning, each one of them, I got to the second phase of the interview phase, which showed you that I was very intentional. So don't just apply for a lot of them without putting in the quality that's required. You need both quality. And that's all from my end for this question, at least.
Thank you very much, Mr. Delight. Is there anyone who still wants to ask a question? You can just raise your hand.
I think there's some questions in the chat box, so just pop in. I can't answer to all of them.
For someone with a BSc degree, are there fundings in Europe for a master's degree, except for the Erasmus Mundus?
I mean, so you mean someone that has a BSc that wants to go masters, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I answered that question. Maybe the person came late. I just showed the slide again. Sorry, 1 second. Yeah, this one. So yeah, you get the slides after. I don't know how the organizer is going to get that across to you, but you get the slides after. And these are the scholarships that exist. At least there are also more. That's why I said the proactive mindset. Discover yourself. Search. I want to go to Poland. I saw someone talking about Poland, for instance. Maybe there's some Erasmus scholarship that go to Poland, or maybe there's some Polish government scholarships. I know that Polish people don't really like Nigeria. Like Nigeria, the relations are quite tricky these days. But maybe they don't have for Nigerians, but at least I know that there's some Erasmus that people that go to Poland. For instance, the Intermath, I think the guy the speaker is going to be speaking after me. I think part of his program is going to be in Poland, and I'm not him, but at least part of the program has a mobility in Poland. So yeah, do your research.
Thank you very much, Mr. Delight. Another question is, you said something about it being difficult to apply directly to a PhD program in Nigeria with a Nigerian master's degree. Please, what are the steps that can be taken to make applying less difficult?
I cannot speak to that directly because I didn't apply directly from Nigeria, but one thing I can say is, at least I know one of my lecturers that was doing they did a master's in Nigeria and applied, and she got a PhD position. So maybe if you're into lecturing or if you have some kind of professional experience, when you're applying from Nigeria, first thing, take out the restriction of, oh, Nigeria, people don't rate us. No, take it out from your mind first. Because if you have that mindset, then everything is already watered down. But if you have the right mindset, if what you're applying or the field you're applying for the PhD is related to what you did as in Nigeria, then you have a very strong chance, right? You have a very strong chance. If you don't mess up the interview with some things, with connections and all this, whenever you need to have interview, whenever you need to have stuff, I personally am very, very careful about that. If I have a very serious interview, it's serious. I go to a center where there's internet, there's lights, I do it there. I don't joke. Even if at home, I don't want to take the one that they plug the internet directly into the computer, Ethernet directly. I don't want issues, because when you're having those interviews, it can also be problematic and it's loading. And sometimes some people here don't really have the patience to understand that network might not be what it is in Nigeria and all those things. So yeah, it's very possible, but make sure that whatever you apply for, you have direct contact with it professionally or in your studies. And then you have very strong writing skills, and then you have very strong motivation. If you have this, then probably you be one of the top people. In most cases in Europe, they don't really have people from these countries coming directly. Most of the people that are applying that are maybe Nigerian are already in Europe, but don't really have people applying from Nigeria directly. And it's quite interesting. Some of them find it quite interesting to look for students that way. So yeah, I hope it helps.
We'll take 2 more questions, one from the chat box and just from Wisdom. He's the only one who has his hands raised now. Okay, someone is asking, if we don't have proficiency certificates like IELTS and TOEFL, but we have English proficiency certificates, can we reach out to the committee responsible for that program and let them know about it?
Well, you can, but you have to be smart about it. You should know it's a gamble, first of all. So what I would do, if, for example, some of this scholarships that have Netherlands in them, what I would do is I would have my letter of proficiency, and I'll have a letter before it explaining myself. I'll use as nice English, very fluid, make sure that the thing is really packed, and explain, that, I was born in, all the explanation I did, about, I'm from Nigeria, we speak English, I was raised in English, in schools, down to my primary, secondary, blah, 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 blah. I worked English, my official language. You can explain all those things, then put the proficiency letter below, highlighting that, and hope that because these things just happen. And they have the rules, but then who knows? Maybe they just think like, oh, maybe we can give this person a chance. But it's a gamble because it could also say, no, we are very strict on this. We need people that have this level of IELTS and stuff. So it's a gamble. But please, if you don't have the means and that's what you have, do it with your full chest. And I mean, I did it for Cambridge. And they said, yeah, that was, and I got into the next phase, which was the interview phase. So yeah, it's possible, but know that it's a gamble.
All right. Mr. Wisdom, can you please unmute and ask your question? Wisdom, are you still with us? Since he's unavailable. Okay.
Okay, I thought I unmuted. Sorry. Thank you, Ma. Thank you, Mr. Daylight. My question is, when you were talking about tailoring our SOPs to particular requirements of the program, you talked about researching the curriculum and the course content. So I want to know, for these universities, for these courses, those curriculum and course contents, are they classified? Are some of them classified information that you would require permissions for? Or are they just, all of them available from internet sources?
One thing I can speak with is that first things, when trying to put your SOPs or align your SOPs with, you have to understand the program, what kind of students they want, what kind of academic background they want. And if you fit, some of them you fit directly, but some of them, if you do not fit, you can explain how you fit, maybe through your work experience or whatever. Number two, regarding trying to understand the courses, they're not classified, at least to my knowledge. No university classifies these courses. They're like, yeah, apply to our university, but no, we block the classification of, no university does that, right? Literally, universities always leave things open to for example, there's nowhere I went when I was looking for scholarships. I've always found their program. I found the courses. Sometimes I found the course brochures from explaining the courses in details. Then this was really very extensive. I saw like very deep things about the courses. So they're not classified information. You find them online, and it's easier to maybe mention one or two things from those things that resonates with you while you're writing the SOP. It's a good touch. And another thing I can mention from Wisdom's question is, while applying for the Erasmus or whatever, depending on whatever they want in the SOP, another good thing to mention is to genuinely mention that you're really excited about multicultural experience and about, the chance to, work with different people from different backgrounds on a unified problem or something. You can say something like that in your SOP. It's always nice that they see that you're excited about the travel opportunities, you're excited about these things, but it also has to sound genuine, right? If you just say it in a way, it's not really genuine, it's not fluid, then they'll be like, yeah, this probably doesn't sound genuine. So I could add that as well.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Delight. If that session gave you value, let's see some energy drop. A thank you, your favorite energy. Let's appreciate our speaker.
Thank you so much. It's good to be here, and I wish you guys the best. I'll stop sharing my screen now.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Delight. Hey, can you guys see my screen? Can anyone see my screen?
No, we can't see your screen.
All right, we can see my screen now. We're moving on to our icebreaker session. Hey, can you see my screen now?
Yes.
We'll be moving on to our icebreaker session.
We can't see your screen.
Okay, if you can you hear me? Can you hear me? We'll be moving on to icebreaker session, and I'll be asking a couple of questions, and I would also want you to tell me one or two things you learned from this session. So my first question, just type your answer in the chat box. Does applying for positions close to your area of education or experience increase your chances of getting a scholarship? All right, thank you very much. My second question, does readiness to display solid writing prowess increase your chances? Thank you, everyone. I'll just need one person to just tell me something they learned from this session. And please, let's make it snappy. Just raise your hand and I'll call on you. Francis, please go on. Francis, are you with us? Francis is unavailable. Wisdom, can you hear me? Are you speaking? If you're speaking, we can't hear you. All right, since they're both unavailable, I will just call anyone. Ayomide Aye. Please, can you just share something you learned?
I think you deactivated
Okay.
our
Good
mic.
Good evening. Thank you for this opportunity.
Good evening, Franz.
Very quickly, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. You can go on.
What I learned from the last presenter is that, first of all, you have to have a positive mindset that you can win. If anybody can win, that person could be you. So the first mindset is the winning mindset. Then you now seek for how you can win by aligning yourself with people that can put you through, having mentorship, and then getting ready for your setup for the actual application. Not just take on from me that the mindset first, the mindset will direct you on how to go about achieve what you want to win. That's it. Thank you very much.
Having it at the back of your mind that it could be you, it can be you, it would be you. Okay, moving on to our second session. Let me share my screen. Can you see my screen now? I still can't see it. If you can see my screen, just if I see something on the chat box. Okay, I would introduce our second speaker. Our second speaker is Mr. Ernest Ekereke, and he is currently in his second year of Master's Studies in Financial Mathematics.
Favor.
Yes, I can hear you.
If you can't see your screen, you need to maybe reboot or something. I don't know.
Can you see it now?
So I can display if it's coming up now.
Good. Our second speaker for today is Mr. Ernest Ekereke, and he's currently in his second year of Master's Studies in Financial Mathematics. His academic training in mathematics and statistics naturally evolved into a passion for data science, building systems that learn from data and uncovering deeper patterns. He designs data pipelines that improve data reliability by 15%, and he has developed route optimization models that cut average delivery times by 10%. Whether it is building classification systems or regression models, he approaches each problem with scientific curiosity and practical focus, translating this into technical complexity and actionable sight for stakeholders. Let us show some energy for our speaker, Mr. Ernest. Okay, over to you, Mr. Ernest.
Can you all hear me now?
Yes, we can.
So I'm really sorry for the technical issue I had earlier. So sorry for that. So I'll share my screen now and then continue from where the first speaker has left off. I appreciate him because he has done almost 60% of what I was going to do. So I'll just do more of the live demonstration of how to go about most of this and how you can set your foot running for the application process and also. But I really enjoy his presentations. Can you see my screen? Okay. If my screen is okay. So I'll be doing more of, sorry, my device dropped. I'll be doing more of live demonstration of almost everything that you've done so far. I will just try to rush up with everything, but if I'm too fast, please you just try to call me back. So in my session, I'll be taking graduate mobility and funding summit. So I will try to use the Erasmus Mundus program. Although I am in the Intermax program, but I will not just limit it to Erasmus Mundus. So while I try to explain with Erasmus Mundus, I will also try to touch some other scholarships that you can and how to go about it. So I will not limit it to like Erasmus Mundus, but then I will use my own program because it will be easier for me to talk about it and then show you how to go about it, and then maybe you can channel that to your desired program. So like the first speaker spoke earlier, there are so many scholarships out there, to be honest, but it depends on what you want and what really aligns to your academic objectives or your career objectives. Or yes, it's not, if somebody approaches me for advice regarding scholarship, I will try to give you all the possible advice, but at the end of the day, we will not tell you something like, okay, apply for this, because at the end of the day, you'll be the one that will like resume and then do the studying yourself and all that. So you actually apply for something you love or something you know you can handle. So that's why when we try to share our ideas, it's not because we know too much, it's just what we did, and then so that it will be easy for you. So first of all, try to identify programs in real time. So are we doing demonstrations on how you can go about this? And then we'll talk of research funding opportunities, and then see how to match research to grant structures, and then how to go about your funding map checklist creation and all that. So, but like I said earlier, the first speaker that spoke really did well because I heard him mention you people creating like an Excel file where you can track your applications and all that. So those are the things you can go out of your way and take your time to do, not just being organized is really helpful in the whole process. And then, so why we are considering funding mapping is because most students actually have the desire to apply for scholarship, but most times I don't know why with information and technology and the internet and all, most people still find it very, I don't know if they are very reluctant to sit down and do the work of going through the whole process of searching the scholarships and all that. So it's easy for me to see, okay, I know what interests you, and then if I maybe see that okay, this program suits your what you want, and I send the link to you, and then if you don't sit down and do the research yourself, it's also a problem because at the end of the day, it will still boil down to you. So basically, when it comes to Erasmus Mundus programs alone, I think we have more than two. Currently now we have more than 200 Erasmus Mundus programs. But in 200 plus Erasmus Mundus program, you just have to sit down and go through the Erasmus catalog one after the other. Go through the catalog to first of all write out the programs that aligns to your or what aligns to your undergraduate studies. When you are done writing out what you think you can do for your masters, then you will now go to those programs, each and every of those programs, one after the of them. Those programs have their own, they are independent of each other. So if you're applying to, let's say, the emotions program or the intermath program, all of them have their program website. So you can actually go to that website and see their requirements and what the program is all about. So that's where you spend most of the time to understand what the program entails, and it will help you. Understanding a program better helps you because it will make your application process easy for you because you are not applying because you want to apply, right? Scholarship also, I think, is a game of number because you just have to put in the best of applications for you to put in the best of applications, you need to understand the program very well. So if let's say you want to apply for Erasmus Mundus now, you come to maybe just Google search for Erasmus Mundus catalog, and then you hit enter. So it takes you to, I think the very first link here. It takes you to the Erasmus Mundus portal where you can go through the Erasmus. So you see search the course catalog. So if you click search the course catalog, it takes you to where you have all the Erasmus programs. So it's now left for you to write out the ones that aligns to your undergraduate, and then you now sit down to. So it's really good because the Erasmus Mundus program provides you the opportunity to travel around Europe. You can do your masters in at least two different European countries. So at least two, or sometimes I think some programs you can do to up to three European. So you can spend like at least a semester in one school, and then so you can enjoy the culture and the beauty of Europe traveling. So when you come to now, I will try to everything I do. I will try to create the links, and then all the materials I will display, the links and the materials. I will try to create everything and then make it available for your host so that they can share with you guys. So we have in this Erasmus Mundus catalog here, you see 211 programs. Yeah, it's showing 211 programs, but it's not always every time that all the programs used to have funding, because I think from time to time most of the programs used to like lose their fundings. So what it means is they don't for that session they might not take students on scholarship. So if you apply, they will now take you as self-funded. So those are the things you should look out for too. So you can see these are all programs. You scroll down. This is intercultural leadership in digital era international masters. Erasmus Mundus joint masters in sustainable transportation and electric power system. So if you are interested in this, you just open this and then you try to open it. You go to the program website, see the program website for this Erasmus program. So this is where you spend most of the time before you apply, because you are trying to understand what the Erasmus Mundus Joint Masters in Sustainable Transportation and Electric Power System is. So understanding the program is very important, because like I said, it will help you reduce the stress of your application, because they already know. If you understand what the program wants, then you can structure your application to what the program wants, and then it will be easy for you and it will be easy for the admission committee too. So because you cannot just apply like give a generic application. So that is that. So if you we scroll up to the last part of it, see, we can keep going and on. So, but if you have a program in mind, maybe you'll be looking out for my program. I know I've been tracking Intermat since when I was in my third year, so I had it in mind. And then, so if you're interested in Intermat, like I said, you just you can search, and then Intermat will pop up, and then it will take you to the program website too. Like I said, every program in the Erasmus Mundus catalog, they have their own program website. So if we click this, so it takes you to the program website, and then you see. So why I want to use Intermat is because I will touch some other scholarship from Intermat. That's why, like I said earlier, I will not just base it on Intermat. I will try to like touch other scholarships as well. Like the first speaker that spoke, he mentioned some scholarships within Europe. They actually much like the you have the Italian government scholarship, um, you have the Netherlands government scholarship, you have the France government scholarship. So everything is just to do your research. It's really important to do your research. So this is the Intermat program website, right? So Intermat on its own, you have full Erasmus students. So it's either you are a fully funded Erasmus student, or you are a partial funded student in the Intermat program, or in the Intermat yes program. Because the Intermat program now, since we've opened this now, you can see that you have Intermat at the top, you have Real Maths, and you have Mathmos, right? So that's like three consortium. They call them consortium in one, right? But Intermats have fully funded for students, right? And then they have partial funding. Now, you might be tempted to ask, so if you have a partial funding scholarship, how do you go about it? How do you finance your studies? How do you do this? How do you do that? Information is key, right? So before now, we didn't know, but for students that we have more of Pakistanians, right, in the program that will not get full funding, but they will come to the program, right? What they do is once they get admitted through the intermat program, right, they come as partial funded students. But what they do is they apply for what we call the Italian Regional Scholarship, right? The Italian Regional Scholarship provides you with a stipend that's up to 7,000 to 8,000 euros for masters. Yes, I know it's not a lot, yes, because when it comes to Europe and then your masters, you don't apply for scholarship because you want to get rich. It's not like a get rich quick scheme. I don't know how they say it, but yes. But students apply for the Italian regional scholarship, and then they get up to 7,000 to 8,000 euros. So that's what they use to foot their bills, their rent, and every other thing. And then they still the regional scholarship also provide them with how is it now? Provide them with meals. Yes, meals in the school canteen. I think in the afternoon and then in the evening. So you are eligible to eat like twice every day in school. Yes, and then in weekdays, I think so. There are specific times, but that's for partial funded students. So most of these programs in Europe, especially in Italy, you don't necessarily need to apply for Erasmus Mundus. So Erasmus Mundus on itself is competitive, but you can apply for regional scholarships. But for you to apply for regional scholarship, first of all, you have to get admission to an Italian university. When you get admitted, that's when you can apply for the regional scholarship. So if you want to apply for, let's say, a master's scholarship in Italy, I'll try to get the link for that, but it's like a central system. There's like a central system where you have all not necessarily all, but yes, 90% of the schools, almost all the universities in Italy, they have like a central system where you can apply for admission. That's what they do. Let's just call them like a like JAM. Though it's not like JAM, but it's like a body like JAM. But then that's where you have schools. You see them advertising for their masters, so you can go there and then go through it and then apply. And then these courses are not taught in Italian, so they are courses for international students where they are taught with English. And then most of the schools are fair enough if they know that your first degree is in English, so you don't necessarily need a language proficiency to apply. Like me in Intermat, I did not apply with any language proficiency. So I already stated when I was applying that okay, I completed my first degree entirely in English language, and then that was enough to suffice. So that's that. And then you have tons of scholarship. Then you've seen the DAT scholarship where you can apply for masters in Germany. There is the Italian government scholarship, like I've said, that's a regional scholarship. There's the MICE, but I think MICE is competitive, and then MICE in the Italian government scholarship does not take much students like that. I think that in Nigeria they don't take, if I'm not mistaken, I think they don't take more than, I don't know, more than 10 or so, but more than 10 to 15 students. But if you want to increase your chances of getting in, you just have to go through the schools, the Italian schools, and then target their individual master's scholarships and then apply. When you're admitted, you can apply for the regional scholarship. So the regional scholarship is independent of all the regions in Italy. So let's say you live in Abuja and you're applying to a school in Abuja. Once you get admitted, so you're applying for the regional scholarship of Abuja. So it's not the same time with somebody that's applying for the regional scholarship that lives in Lagos or let's say in Sokoto. So every region handles their own regional scholarship, and it's always like different requirements most times. So you have to look out for those things. Now, if you're interested in applying for the Erasmus Mundus scholarship, the first thing you should do is to try to prepare what we call a Europass CV. So not necessarily alone in Italy, but anything that has to do with Erasmus Mundus, I think you need that Europass CV. That's very important. It's not like our normal academic CV that we use, but that's the first thing you do. You prepare your Europass CV. I will try to show you how to do it, and then I will still add a sample of it. We might not finish in this demonstration, but I will add a sample to the materials I will zip to your organizers so that it will help you structure your own Europass CV. So, but one thing I can say is if you have intentions to apply for scholarship, you should start now, because the earlier the better. Like if you're writing your SOP, you don't write your SOP when the program is like 3 weeks to the application deadline, right? So it's easy for you, it's good for you to start writing out just target the programs you want to apply, and then target them very early, and then when the application will start and when it will close, it will help you. The first speaker actually spoke on time management, and he did justice with his explanations, and then everything about his book or with time management is really important. In Europe, every second counts for you. So once you target this program, by when they start opening, it's not the time you want to go and do your CV. That's some things I told some people that met me, and I told them early enough that okay, see what you need, and then start working on it. Because if you start working on it early enough, if there are any changes and then recommendations that has to be made, you can do those things, right? You don't write your SOP in 1 week. I can tell you that you can write your SOP in 1 month. You can wake up today, you read the first paragraph. If it does not sound well while you are reading it to yourself, if it does not convince you that I wrote it, you can clean it, rewrite it. It's your SOP, it's your story, right? So you know yourself better than I know you. So it's just our little input is okay, put this to match the program, but you will write your story better for yourself. So for Erasmus, the first thing you need is the Europass CV. So I'm trying to log out and then try to log in again because I was logged in already. And so once you get your Europass CV ready, you start going to those programs websites, right? You like now after this webinar, you can start visiting the site and then visiting those programs you want to apply. Take your time and read about them, right? You know what they want, so it will help you to prepare your CV, and it will help you to write your SOP. So I think once you can get that done, then you don't have much issue again. So let's just see how I want to show you around, because most times when I tell people, okay, first of all, prepare your Europass CV, the challenges they used to have is okay, them creating it and all that. So let me just try to like run down through it and see what we can come out. And then, well, we will not make a CV. Like I said, I will just show you what to do, and then I will share with you a sample Europass CV. And let me just try to see a sample of that. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Yes, sir. I can hear you, sir.
Can hear you.
So I'm trying to show you. I'm trying to just give a sample of how a Europass CV looks like, so that. But I will share a sample with you and then just show you how to go about it too. I really had a wrong day with my devices. Sorry for for no reason. I don't know why this is not coming up. So can you still see my screen?
Yes, sir. Are you still talking because I can't hear what you are saying, sir?
Can you hear me now? Can you see my screen and can you hear me? Sorry for the.
Yes,
Yes, we can.
So this is a sample of Europass CV, right? This is how it looks like. So I'll try to share a sample of this so that when you are preparing your own, you will know how to like structure it and then know how to put these sections together. So this is the first thing you need when you want to apply for any Erasmus program. So but it's good to start early to apply. It's good to you start the application, the process of your application early. So like getting those documents ready. So this is what it looks like, and then this is what you need. So it's nothing really special here, right? If you have an academic CV already, what you need to do is to try to convert it, model it to fit the Erasmus Europass CV format. And then there's a website for that CV. So that the website for this CV is what we are trying to do here. So you just Google search. I will still send the link to the Europass CV. So you come here, you create an account. First of all, you create an account that enables you to log in and log out, right? That's the first thing you do. And then the next thing you do is you create a profile. So the profile is different from the account profile that you use to log in and sign off. So it is when you are done creating your profile, that is when you can now create your CV. So it's nothing difficult, right? Once you are done building your profile, you just click create my CV. It will just use the information you use in creating your profile to generate the CV for you. And then the other part of it is you just choosing a layout and all that, how you want it to look and how you want it to be structured. So no reason, I don't know why this is not coming out. So that's for Erasmus. So I've talked about Erasmus Mundus. I've talked about the Europass TV. I've talked about your SOP, which you have to go to each of the programs you are applying for. So I think for me, if you ask me how I'll go about this, right? The first thing I'll do is I'll create an Excel spreadsheet, right? Where I have maybe the first sheet for the Excel file is for Erasmus applications. And then any program I've gone through the catalog and I see that this program relates to what I want to do, I will pick that program. I will put in the first row of the first column, and then I'll pick the link of that program and I'll put in the second column of that same first row, and then you keep a column if you've applied or your level if you've done CV for it, just to keep track of things and then well arranged. So when you're done with all the programs now, you now start preparing the materials for applying them. So that's for that. And then for that scholarship, so I know that they have lots of programs so that you can apply for. It's the same process, right? You just have to Google the that, and then you try to look for a program that fits your undergraduate. So you have to make Google your friend, and then you try to prompt it as much as you can. And then you also, while you are
Sorry,
trying to prepare, okay.
sorry to interrupt. Miss Ernest, can you hear me? Is Adana?
Yes.
Yeah, so your screen is quite blurry. I don't know why. Because the demonstration, they can't see it clearly.
Can you see it now?
No,
You can see this?
I can see it, but it's not like clear. I can't see the words, very sharp images. I can't see very sharp images.
I don't know why is that. Do I have to stop sharing and start sharing again?
You can try that, but if it continues, I don't know. Maybe it's quality something. Check maybe if you are sharing in a lower quality.
Just a minute and then.
Yes, so please, while we wait for that, please, you can start preparing your questions using the Q&A, and also because of time, we'll be taking quite short number of questions. So you want to you want to be ready. You want to put in your question as early as possible because we won't be taking all. Thank you.
Is it better now?
Yes, it is better now.
So I'm sorry about that. So I was trying to Google search for that scholarship, and then before the whole so requirements application. I'm trying to get a link for all the displayed programs like I got for the Erasmus catalog. But if I cannot get it now, I will send everything to the zip file I will send. So, but I will try to, how will I say it now? I will try to indicate which link is for which, so you get all the programs outlined there for you. So it's just the same thing. You go to that, check for all the programs, check the one that aligns to what you want to do, and then go to the program's website, see what it requires, the requirements, understand it very well. Don't just read it and then you say that okay, I'm a strong fit for it and all that. You can take 1 week, try to understand what the program wants, because when you know what the program wants, that's when you will know how to like attack with your applications and all that. So it's really important. So I will send that for you guys as well. So there are other scholarships too that I will send, and then so this is more like Erasmus I've talked about. This is so about that scholarship as well. So generally in Europe, I think they do what they call the exchange program. So the exchange program, most times you are not an Erasmus Mundus recipient, but if you are admitted to, let's say, a European university, let's say a school in Italy now, you can go for what we call exchange program. So exchange program allows you to spend at least 6 months or a semester in another school in Europe. So it can be within the country your school is, or you can go to another EU country. So that's what they call exchange program. So they have this in Europe here, they have this possibility where you can be doing your masters, let's say in University of Abuja, and then you go to the University of Lagos and you spend a semester there, and then you come back and complete your studies in University of Abuja. So that's what they call the exchange program, and then all those are possibilities for you to explore as well. So about that, and then Erasmus Mundus. So these are also like other scholarships that you can look out for. The other speaker mentioned Chevening. I saw Chevening, and then there's the Netherlands Orange program, the Switzerland, the Swiss Government Excellence Scholarship, there's the France FL program, there's Belgium, there's Sweden. I think the speaker here is in Sweden, I think. And then, so there are so many options for you to explore. Now, one thing I would say, also explore the use of your artificial intelligence, not in writing your SOPO, don't get me wrong, or don't take my word out of context, please. Explore the use of artificial intelligence, AI, your Grox, your cloud. So your cloud AI is very strong, right? So I was playing with it some days ago, and I said, for this, I just said, can you give me scholarships in Italy? You can give a good prompt, right? Search the internet 2026. Give me a scholarship, a master scholarship that is open for application for 2026, 2027 in my field. You put your field, your maybe for microbiology, for sociology, for that, with full funding and all that. You send it will search the web for you, honestly, and then give you a list of schools that still have open applications, and then that aligns with what you want. So let's say you're looking for a master scholarship in microbiology. You just prompt, utilize it very well, to be honest. So if you feel very lazy to like go through Google and start searching, you can play with your artificial intelligence. That's why it's there. But I'm not saying go and generate your entire SOP with Claude AI, right? Because Claude does not know you. The AI tool works with the information you give it. So Claude does not know you that much. And then when you write a generic SOP, or you have an AI generated SOP, right? And a professor in the admission committee start reading it, they know that it is AI generated. So they don't even need to put it in, turning it in, or try to check for AI or detect for AI bots. You can use it to enhance your writing, but don't completely use it to do your SOP or anything that has to do with your application. Completely use it for that. But you can use it to search for scholarship. I'm just telling you one way. Claude AI is very good with that. So you can prompt it to tell you, like, okay, go to Belgium, check master scholarship in microbiology, full funding, and then tell it what you're looking out for, the specificity of those programs, and then it will give you those programs, and then you can copy the links and then verify. Yes, I'm not saying that AI is 100% correct, no, but if it gives you a particular program, you can take the link, go and check, does this thing exist? If it exists, look at it. Does it align with what I want? Yes, okay. Put it in your Excel, your spreadsheet, and then keep track of it, and then see how you can start preparing for its application. So that's just so the first thing is, you ask the question, you ask yourself that, does my degree field match the program discipline focus? So if there's a program, there's a master scholarship for artificial intelligence, right? And I study, let's say, religious studies. I'm not talking down on religious study, but at that point, right, it does not align with artificial intelligence, your domain knowledge, right? Except if God works in a mysterious way, and then you can convince the admission committee that, okay, I understand artificial intelligence while studying religious study, and you can convince them. So the target is convincing the admission committee why they should pick you and give you funding to study. So if you can justify why they should pick you as a candidate, then you have an admission or you have a scholarship. So for it to be easy for you, don't put yourself in a tight corner where your degree does not align or does not have any like somebody that studies chemistry can apply for material science. Yes, somebody that studies mathematics and statistics can apply for data science, because in data science you use a whole lot of mathematics and statistics and computer science and all that, right? So it is not too far. The difference is not that far, but there's close relationship. So first of all, you check for those programs that aligns to your undergraduate. So if you have your undergraduate and you're applying for masters, you check. If you are going for a PhD, you check for what you've done in your masters, and then before you apply, right? Because a PhD is more of an independent work. So there is your research, and then if you go and apply for something you don't enjoy researching on, it will hang you at some point. So you have to love the research you want to do in your PhD, and then that's when you can see that, okay, this aligns with what I've done in my masters, and then you go for that. So you check, and then there are some scholarships too that will tell you that, okay, Nigerians cannot apply for this for some reason I don't know. So you also check for nationality eligibility rule. So first of all, you check, those are the things you check in the program website. They are always listed there. It's not as if they will hide it from you. And then you check if your CGPA, your academic record, is competitive, right? So one thing that used to deter students from applying is their CGPA, because I've had so many students coming to tell me that, okay, I finished with the goal of that, right? Let me be very honest with you. In Europe, yes, they will look out for your CGPA, yes, but if you know that your CGPA is not good, let's assume that you understand quick enough, and then you are able to carry out some meaningful research work that you've published in, let's say, in good journals, right? Those things can count for you. To be very honest, it will count for you, because it shows that, okay, you can do research, you can you understand what it means to sit down, to study, to research, and then to publish. So those will give you added advantage, especially Erasmus Mundus, right? There are some short courses or more courses you can take. Those things will add up, right? So I want to apply for, let me say I want to apply for I don't know the specific Erasmus program now. I think there's Dix, I don't know, but there's a data science, or let's say AI, artificial intelligence. I want to apply, and then I have not written any line of code, or I've not done any project concerning artificial intelligence. I just come, okay, I have a first class in computer science, but you have not shown that, okay, why doing your first class, or why you had your first class, you've not done these courses, right? Somebody that actually has taken those short courses and then has built project, right, will be standing a better chance, because they see that you've not been idle, you've been pushing, you've been building, and that's the thing. Just keep doing those things because they will add up. So if you have research experience and you have low CGPA, don't feel bad, right? You still have an advantage, right? If you have low CGPA, look for those things that will stand as added advantage for you while you apply. So you can also check that, and then you check if you can align your SOP and your motivation letter to the grant's goal, right? Yes. So the whole scholarship thing, right? Europe, Erasmus, that, and everything, they have reasons why they are giving you money to study, right? It's not as if they don't have their people to pick up those positions, right? But you have to try to know, why are these people putting the scholarship out? That's when you go to the program website and check what the program requires. You see that everything I've said is boiling back to going to each program you want to apply and then understanding it very well, because it will save you the whole energy of just applying randomly. And then if for PhD is my intended research topic in a priority area, or so, you just check if how does this thing I want to do help them and help you, right? At some point, I think in my third semester, there are some courses I take, right? I don't do exams. So what I do in that class, if I attend lecture, is just to solve problems. Yes, as a mathematics student, they believe that, okay, the universities in Europe are not built for students to come and collect masters or PhD. They are built because they want students to solve problems, societal problems. So you are coming with the mindset that, okay, I have to solve problems. You have to address a particular problem. I have to solve this. So that's why I said somebody that is consistent in doing courses and then building not really big or magnificent projects, but you are doing something, right? They see that you are not idle, but you are doing something, you are doing research, you are active. Yeah, you'll be a very hot cake in the scholarship market. So don't allow your CGPA to like totally kill your dream of applying and all that. So you just try to build your the funding map here is to identify 5 to 10 programs in your field, like we've mentioned, and then you shortlist 3 programs marked per cycle, like we've seen, consortium universities and countries. So the consortium were the ones I showed you in Intermaths, where you have Intermaths, Real Maths, and Mathmos. Those are consortiums. Consortiums are, let's say, there's an Erasmus program in artificial intelligence, and then there are 3 partner schools. So one in France, one in Spain, one in Hungary. So those 3 schools, right, are consortiums of those programs. So they are called partner institutions. So while you are applying for Erasmus too, go read about each and every of those universities. What do they do in Hungary from this my master's? So if my first semester is in Italy and my second semester is supposed to be in Hungary, what will I be doing in Hungary? How will it align to this application I want to do? How will it align to my personal development? And those are the things you look out for, to be honest. And then, so you prepare, you draft tailored motivation. I think this slide will be shared with you guys. So everything is here. I don't have to like rush over it, because you take your time to read. So that's that. And then, so you do strong recommendation. I know that another challenges for students is recommendation. So, well, you just have to, I don't know, if you are still an undergraduate student here, or you are still a student, try to build meaningful relationship with your lecturers, right? I know it's not always easy when it comes to our Nigerian lecturers, but you just have to find a way because you need recommendations and then good ones, right? Most times your application might be very strong, but if your recommendation is weak, right, there's a problem because they just look at it like, so everything has to be almost perfect, right? So try to talk to your lecturers or people, your recommenders in time. Don't tell them to start rushing recommendation when it is like 1 week to your deadline, and make your applications apply in time early enough. So if you've been monitoring a program for like the last 3 months before the application started and you've prepared, right? After the program application opens in 3 weeks, you should have submitted your application. So there is no reason for you to leave it to a week to the end of the application period, and then you are rushing everything, putting yourself under unnecessary pressure, right? So I know you can be busy and then work and some other people and everything, the whole light and network issue, but just like the first speaker said, just have priority and then know how to utilize your time. So it's very important. It's very important. It will help you too. So also, like here now, okay, is what we've talked about. So Erasmus Mundus, Chevening for UK, Swiss government excellence scholarship for Switzerland, then the Orange program for Netherlands. We have that for Germany. So the Swedish Institute scholarship. So this is in Sweden, and then Belgium, and then in France. So all these are EU countries. Yes, and when we started, your moderator asked where you would like to do your masters or have a scholarship, and then I saw it's not bad to go to US or Canada or Australia. It's nice, yes. But if you're in Europe, let's say you are in Germany, right? You can travel to France, you can travel to Belgium, you can travel to Italy, you can travel to Netherlands. So long as you're in Germany and you have a visa, you have like your residence permit card, you can enter other EU countries. So you don't necessarily need a visa to travel from Germany to Italy or to France. So you have enough time to explore. So that brings me to the end. I don't know if I actually did justice because I had so much technical issues with this, but I will try to curate everything I've said, put all the links you need, and then I will share with the host, and then they will deliver everything to you, and nothing will be missing. Thank you very much. Cool.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ernest. Your session was very impactful. We would move to the Q&A right now, and I would read the questions that have been put on the chat box. Okay, our first question says, must the recommendation be from lecturers or professors from my department?
So for masters, when I applied, my lecturers that wrote my recommendations were not professors. So they were more of doctors. So they were not professors like that. So, but I think if the first speaker, I think he will help me out for this. But I know that if it's a PhD you're applying for, then it is necessary for you to have a professor write your recommendation. Yes. So I think for masters, they don't really check, but if you have a professor that can write, is also good. But if your recommender is also a doctor, they can also write, is also good, except what you're asking is if a mister who is a lecturer can write a recommendation for you. But if the person can justify that, okay, they have a personal relationship or they've been able to tutor you as a lecturer and it's well written, I think it's okay, so long as it meets the necessary requirements to be called a recommendation. I don't know if
Okay,
I've been
thank you,
able
Mr.
to
Ernest.
answer.
Mr. Delight, you raised your hand. I'm guessing you want to make a contribution.
Oh no, Eric got it spot on. He got it spot on. I don't have any other things to say.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone in the audience that has a question? So we'll take one person. Concerning the previous question, He's asking,
Okay.
can the writer of the reference be from any department or must it be from my own department?
It's a very tricky question. You know why? Because if you studied statistics and you meet a lecturer in sociology to write a recommendation for you, that lecturer might not really know your strengths and weaknesses in your mathematics. So the lecturer is not is now writing in the position of a personal relationship. Maybe you've worked with him or you've collaborated with him, right? So if maybe you had a, let's say you have a research work, maybe let's assume the lecturer is in chemistry or physics and you are in math, and you people collaborated and then you had a publication together. I think yes, he can, but if the difference between his department and you, maybe different faculty entirely, so you see that there's a problem because they want to assess you based on your strengths and weakness in course you graduated in and to know if you can handle what you're coming to do, right? So most times kind of relationship those kind of recommendation might not fly. Yes, they might not fly. So I think, yeah.
All right, thank you very much. Abdulaziz, your hands are raised. Can you go on with your question? Abdulaziz. All right, Ashi, can you please ask your question? Can you unmute and ask your question? Someone is asking if you can show us how to draft an Europa CV.
I'm trying to see if I can get the site up. I can, let me just see if it can come up and then I will show you. So I will still share the sample for you guys. So it's not a, it will not be a big issue. So what I will do is I will create a Google Drive link and then put everything there and then I will send it to the organizers. So I don't know, my screen.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Ernest. That was a very insightful session. Please, let's show some energy for our speaker. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I'm sure we've learned a lot from today's session. My notes are full, and I hope it's the same for everyone. Can you keep on giving reactions if you've learned a lot and you're going to put all this into practice? All right. Tomorrow we'll be having, I can see the reactions. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining. Tomorrow is day 4 of our Graduate Mobility and Funding 2026, and it promises to be very insightful. Please, I would like to see all of you here tomorrow. Invite your friends, share the link to register. We'll be having 5 speakers tomorrow, so it's going to be very impactful. You don't want to miss it. This brings us to the end of today's session. Thank you very much for joining. If you have any questions, you can reach out to us at info.
Can you hear me?
Okay.
Please, before we conclude, we need to take a group picture. So please, I encourage everyone to. So I would activate the. You can turn on your cameras, your video, so that we can take a group photo. Yes, I know. If you don't have light, that's okay. So I think everyone can activate their video. If you can, please let me know on the chat. So we quickly, Mr. Ernest, kindly stop sharing so that I don't know who is sharing. If you don't mind.
Okay. Sharing.
Okay. Yeah, just a quick one. Thank you. Yes. Yes, I think I got that. Thank you very much. Also, I would like to add that, like Favor have mentioned, tomorrow is going to be the last day, and in fact, you don't want to miss it because it's a panel discussion. So you're going to meet panelists, people who are in different parts of the world, different scholarship. They're going to describe how their life is. Not just, we have talked enough about the process of getting scholarship. Now we're going to go in depth into testimonies from these people, from scholars, to share their stories. So you don't want to miss it. So I invite everyone to be here tomorrow and also to plead with you guys to share your testimonies as well on LinkedIn under our post. You can make a post, tag us Cable NG. Our LinkedIn and our group links, our platform links are in the chat. Please follow us, tag us, share your testimonies. What did you learn? What was your take home from this, from day one to today? Come on, guys. There's a lot of insights that have been shared, a lot of knowledge. So please, our links are being shared in the chat. Follow us, follow our speakers, tag them, make a post on LinkedIn, tag them. What did you learn? Appreciate them. That's one of the ways we grow. That is one of the ways we network. So let's ensure we do that. And also to add that we have a token of appreciation to our speakers in form of certificates to show them appreciation for showing up and honoring our invitation. Thank you very much on behalf of Cable. I want to thank our speakers for today and our speakers from day one and day two. So thank you very much. I'll hand over to Favor now. I think that's all I have.
All right, thank you very much, Adana, for that. Let me quickly share my screen. So
Please check the message on the.
okay, thank you for joining our session today. Like we all know, Cable is an organization that is dedicated to helping young Africans, and we host programs like this. Our goal is to empower the next generation to succeed and create meaningful impact. You can reach out to us at info@teamcable.org. If you have any questions, you can check out our website. The link will be dropped on the chat box, and you can call these numbers displayed on your screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see. Yes, ma'am, you can see a screen. Thank you.
Yes. So you can send a message to any of these numbers with whatever inquiry you have, and it will be sorted out. Or you can just send a mail to us at info@teamcable.org. Thank you so much for joining today. Do have a wonderful evening.
Yes, ma'am, can you